Good morning, young friends, and good morning, my fellow colleagues from the Mahatma Gandhi State Institute of Public Administration and the members of the faculty, both in-house and guest faculty. First of all, I'm thankful to all of you, particularly the IAS aspirants for the next year who have joined us for this very interactive session where we will try and tell what we can do and talk about certain general points so that you can then take an informed decision whether you would like or not to like to join this course. There are other competitive options available. There is also the option of self-study. Firstly, it should be very clear that MAGSIPA, as we like to call it, Mahatma Gandhi State Institute of Public Administration, we've got a beautiful campus in Sector 26, sandwiched between the Sacred Heart School and the Strawberry School. In better times, we would like to even have a physical course and physical interaction, and maybe it'll be possible during the course of this training as well. And we've got a wonderful library, very dedicated staff. The point which I was trying to emphasize was that this is a not-for-profit institution run by the Government of Punjab, of which training of the civil servants or the prospective aspirants for civil services, both of UPSC and PPSC, is one part of our overall job. Otherwise, the Mahatma Gandhi State Institute of Public Administration essentially is to train the officers, both newly inducted, in service, belonging to all departments and organizations of the Government of Punjab. And we are also now more or less a kind of a regional center for Government of India. So when they have their own recruitment in terms of section officers, in terms of people of the Nehru Yuva Kendra, various ministries, they also are sending a lot of their officers for training here. And then there are a number of central laws which are applicable equally to the state governments and central governments, and also of interest to the normal citizen. For instance, the Right to Information Act, for instance, the sexual harassment in the workplace, for instance, the rights of the senior citizens, and so on. So we also keep on running both short-term and long-term courses. And apart from the National Academy of Administration at Mussoorie, when we have the state civil services officers being promoted to the IAS, they also undergo a kind of a 2-month program, an induction program. And apart from the Mussoorie Academy, which is running short of space these days, we are perhaps the only one or one among 2 state institutes, the other wing perhaps one at Hyderabad, that we take officers who are being promoted after, say, 20 years of service in the PCS of their various different states for, induction into the IAS. And National Defense College, which has defense officers cutting across all the arms of the armed forces, the Army, Navy, Air Force. Not only that, of friendly foreign countries, we are also hosting them for a week or 10 days, putting them through the historical perspective of Punjab and the history of Punjab and the strategic importance of Punjab. There are various other courses that we are running, so I wouldn't want this little chat of mine, which is more introductory than anything else, to dwell too much onto the institute. The main point being that we are a comprehensive institute, and we have a very focused and a dedicated civil services training center, which we are now trying to gear up. And as they say, sweet are the uses of adversity. So in the COVID scenario, if earlier we were able to have a limited set of people because of the physical constraints, now perhaps we would be able to enroll far larger number of students who we would be going through a virtual course. And should the situation improve, we could have physical sessions also as a supplement, but not to supplant what is essentially a course which is online. Now, coming to civil services, I don't think civil services as a profession is something that requires a sales talk. It has been and continues to be one of the most sought after professions in the country for young men and women cutting across the disciplines. When we were taking the civil services examination, generally the trend was that ਜੇ ਬੱਚਾ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਲਿਖਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਜਾਂ ਨਾਨ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਜਾਵੇ, ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰਿੰਗ ਕਰ ਲਵੇ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਡੀਸਿਨ ਕਰ ਲਓ. And today, needless to say, the young people have a lot of options and a lot of disciplines. There is super specialization, there is multidisciplinary disciplines, so on and so forth, which are emerging. Having said that, the civil services is open to and actually challenges students and graduates from all disciplines. It is not as if, it is only people with a sociology background or persons with engineering background, but opting for sociology who stand in any competitive advantage. It is a very highly competitive national examination, and the credibility and integrity and the fairness and rationality of the Union Public Service Commission continues very consistently to be unimpeded. So therefore, if there is a merit-driven system in the country, it is the selection process for the civil services. Needless to say, as I said, it is highly competitive. You will see cynical people talking, the political interference, but this is happening, that is happening, it is no longer the same thing. All things in the external environment being what they are, notwithstanding, even discounting for those, even accounting for those, the IAS, the other All India services, the foreign services, and the central services continue to be not only a highly engaging profession and a lifelong career, but also where you can impact the people of your country at large. So someone had said that the Indian civil service during the British times was neither Indian nor civil nor a service. It was not Indian because it was British. It was not civil because it was backed up by the military might. It was anything but a service. There was no sense of service for the people of India who were then the subjects of the British crown. Rather, it was a rule. Right now, we who enter the civil service would all be public servants, which apart from the legal connotation really means that you are at the service of the people at the grassroots level to implement the policies of the government so that the poorest of the poor can be reached. The excluded sections of the society can be brought into the national mainstream. And at the senior levels, you also get into the policy making. So with this background, which was perhaps a little more expensive than I wanted to go, but it was necessary to set the context. So where do we start from? As they say, any graduate of any university of any discipline is, free to enter this competitive examination. And of course, we have to cross the first hurdle first, which is your preliminary examination, which is essentially general studies, general knowledge, logic, ethics, and so on and so forth. So in those particular, your quest for the civil services essentially begins with taking the preliminary examination, for which we would be starting this course. Now, people often ask, my English is poor, I speak only in Punjabi and so on. Over the past decade or so, the UPSC has said that you can take the examination in multiple Indian languages. You can opt for the interview in various languages, at least in Hindi and English and so on. So therefore, your command over the language, needless to say, stands in your advantage if you're good at English. but it is neither the necessary nor the sufficient condition for you to be successful. And from all accounts, people who ultimately get through to the civil services examination, they are evenly distributed among the various regions, among the various disciplines, and among the various language mediums. On a lighter vein, sometimes we make the task look so intractable, so impossible, that some of the very bright students really don't even attempt to take this exam. कि जी अन्ने लख बच्चा होना है, अन्नियां सीटां ने, उत्थे तां जी फलाने कॉलेज दे ने, उत्थे IIT दे ने, IIM दे ने, ते असीं कित्थे हां जी, मैं तां इत्थे लोकल चों पढ़िया. And in all sincerity, we do all have a kind of an imposter complex. I too had that imposter complex. I was in the final year of my engineering and I took the examination. And in the very first attempt, I was number 2 on the All India list and landed up in Mussoorie Academy exactly on almost 37 years ago, which is 21st of August 1984. And मैंने उथे जान लगे सच्ची गल ये लगे that I could perhaps be the biggest mistake of UPSC कि 22-23 साल दा जी पटियाले दा मुंडा ते ये उथे चले गए, उथे तां सेंट स्टीफन वाले होने ने, उथे तां होने ने. But as we kind of interacted with people, one found that there are good students, very good students, but ये नहीं है कोई के extraterrestrial intelligence level वाले उथे बच्चे हुंदे ने. So therefore, there are hardworking, intelligent students, academically brilliant, academically very good, but ये नहीं है कि कोई demigods उथे Mussoorie Academy पहुंचते ने. So if you really want to have a kind of a boost to your confidence when the batch lands up there, I don't know, these days they may be delayed by a few months here and there. But when you interact with those students, then you realize that they are the people who are just like you and me, who put in focused hard work. Now, it should be very clear that it is not a test of mere intelligence. It is not a test of mere academic excellence. It is a measure of both. There is an element of ethics, of your values, which is also being judged. But more importantly, it is not a 100 meters race or a 400-meter race, which you do it and over and done with and you're into IAS. Often, people say, "Ke ji, तुसी किन्ने एग्जाम दिते, किन्ने किन्ने घंटे दे सी, and सारे रला लो जी 12 घंटे दे तुसी पेपर दिते, ते फिर तुसी 30-35 साल दी सर्विस च मौजां करदे हो." Let me tell you, friends, it's like saying, how many seconds do you require to, win a gold medal in the Olympics in the 100 meters? It could be less than 10 seconds, but that is not the answer. The question is the hard work, dedication and preparation and proper coaching that you've undertaken, both mental and physical, to be ultimately reach there. And the other thing is, in those events, you win the medal and your battle is over. You won it. Here, if you qualify, it is the beginning of a marathon, then afterwards. But that is once you qualify. Here, what I'm trying to say is that even the preparation itself is like a marathon. It is mentally and physically challenging and exhausting. There are people, very bright students, who over prepare, who under prepare earlier on, and then they can lead to some type of a burnout, or you are focused too much on too narrow an area, you excel in it, but that only constitutes 10% of the overall syllabus, and you in the process ignore the other. So it is a process of optimizing between the intensive and the extensive, so that at the preliminary stage, you are prepared, you are in a sound disposing mind to take the exam and then get into the next phase. So the synchronization of your preparation with the examination is very good. If you are late, then panic can set in. If you are too early, as I said, there is nothing else to do, and then you may start getting into a panic mode. Often this question has been asked, KG, I have done my post-graduation, and therefore, should I take a part-time job? It is not going to look good on my CV. No, what I'm going to say is my personal view. I mean, you can have a different view altogether. And what I'm saying is also contrary to what I personally did. After having cleared my degree from Thapar Engineering College, as it was then called, so I was offered a teaching job and I taught there for 2 semesters while taking the examination. But I would strongly urge that for 1 year, 2 years, or whatever time that you are focused on, it is a full-time job. And if you are taking a job, trying to proceed on leave, you are doing neither justice to the civil services examination, nor to the job that you're doing. This is my personal view. If you can multiplex, if you say my teaching job, I'm also teaching sociology, and sociology is going to be optional, perhaps it is supplementary, then I don't really have any problems with that. But my view is that if you want to take the plunge, then for a couple of years, it needs to be a kind of a full-time job. Now, 2 questions which often parents ask me: can you qualify the civil services examination without coaching? The answer is yes. Does coaching help? The answer again is yes. So the idea is what type of coaching you want and what type of input you're actually willing to absorb, either from the coaching institute or from your own study as such. But remember one thing, any coaching institute, any guru, any mentor can only tell you the way. Ultimately, you have to trudge the way yourself. No one is going to carry you on their shoulders in this path for preparation of civil service. No training institute, including MG-SIPA, has a golden wand that we will at the end of the training hand you, and lo and presto, you have cleared the preliminary and you have cleared the main examination. Our very expert faculty would tell you, guide you, even give you options. And ultimately, the decision has to be your own. You cannot say, Fulane saab ne kya si, main to is karke kita. And you got your own biorhythms and biocycles. I mean, there could be a person who's studying late at night, and then he may not be able to get up at 11 a.m. in the morning. I have no problem with that if your sleep cycle is that. On the other person, someone is getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, meditating, and from 5 o'clock, he's over and done with by 2 p.m. So there are no right or wrong ways, but only thing is that it should be in sync with yourself, and the decision that you take is your own. You cannot, pass on the onus or the blame to someone else. And here I also need to mention that once you start preparing for the civil services, you will get multiple advice from multiple quarters, and generally from highly qualified and well-meaning people. Your parents will be the first ones to guide you. Beta, is tarah kar lo, us tarah kar lo. Your colleagues, people who have passed perhaps, people who have tried and not gotten through, people who are taking the examination along with you, they will be giving you different and diametrically opposite advice. And I'm not for a moment saying that the advice that they're giving you is in any way meant to mislead you or misguide you. But take all that advice, observe it and absorb it, but ultimately it has to be your decision, so that tomorrow you don't blame, कि जी मेरे principal madam ने तो ये बोला था इसलिए तो मैंने ये नहीं किया, and all that. Especially when it comes to selection of optional subjects, there are no easy or tough optionals. I'm not going to dwell upon this because we are only sitting at the preliminary stage. So this is about hard work, dedication, about focus and concentration. Normally we use this term interchangeably. Focus is about, how thin how small the area you're concentrating your energy. So once you're studying a particular subject, then 5 different things don't come to your mind. And concentration is, once you are focused on that, then go into the depth of the matter. But don't lose sight of the overall picture. Next day, when you're studying something else, you have to make sure that it is something which is a balanced and optimal. Maximal approach is something which works in theory. If you're able to optimize together your mental faculties, physical energies, the overall rest hours, discussion, then I'm sure it is a challenging job, no doubt, but not an impossible one. It is not a lottery, definitely. This is not something where you can say, kisi da bhi acha nahi hua hai paper type. You have to do well, you have to do reasonably well, and whatever your discipline you are, you may have done engineering, you want to go in for psychology, sociology, please do so. But be sure that you'll be competing in that discipline among the best in the country. Mediocrity is definitely not going to be a mantra of success. Chalta hai type se to better hai, then one should not waste one's time. So on conclusion, two questions which are generally asked. First one I perhaps touched, which was that, okay, ek bari aage, then fir moja. There is nothing like that. In any job, you are going to be put to test and challenge every single day. You are in public gaze, whether you are in the civil services, whether you are in the IAS, IPS, income tax, customs. People of this country, people with whom you interact, are constantly evaluating you. This is an open society. Everyone knows what you're doing, social media, multimedia, and so on and so forth. So therefore, it is, as I would say, only the end of the beginning, not even the beginning of the end. So from here, the actual journey starts. You're just at the base camp once you qualify. And the other thing that parents generally ask, कि जी मुंडे ने कुड़ी ने 2 साल लाते and जी ने बड़ी कोशिश की थी, पढ़ने लिखने वाली भी सी, होशियार सी, but ultimately she didn't get through the, so की करिए जी. So I would say that the process itself is going to make you a better citizen, a better human being, a better student. The type of knowledge that you would gather as you travel along a serious preparation, not a casual one, in the civil services is going to add to dimensions of your personality. So irrespective of whether you are a doctor, whether you're an MBA, whether you're a lawyer appearing before the High Court, or you're getting into research and development in a foreign university having an IIT degree, whatever, the preparation for the civil services examination is going to stand you in good stead. It is like going to the gym, it is like jogging, it's like trekking. This will bring about multiple developments, which you will only look back and then realize that it was an effort worth making, even if you do not, for whatever reason, ultimately make it. So these are the few words which I wanted to share with you. And therefore, we have our experts sitting here. I would request one of them to just tell us the format of this training, how many hours a day, what type of typical lectures we have, and whether it is Monday to Friday, what are the hours, are there any physical interactions, how long the course is going to be. I'm sure the fees aspect also is available on the website, or they would be telling you. And therefore, having considered that, I'll thank you all very much and thanks for joining. And at the same time, I'll request our center director, Mr. ML Sharma, to request one of the faculty to just give a broad outline of what this course is all about. And then, of course, we can take questions from our audience and perspective, as well as the students who enrolled. Thank you very much.